Okay, well, before we start this morning, I just wanted to say a couple of things. And one of them is I recently took some experiential classes with a colleague of mine, Paula. She's been into the Dharma a long time and was a nun for 18 years. And she's been connected with Ling. And she's been studying yoga with some people in India, at least she did some time back. Because I can't remember their first names, but they're a couple and they're students of Desikachar, and the last name is the Mohans. And the term that, or the phrase that's really stuck in my mind that I wanted to share with you is that the yoga should fit the person, not the person should fit the yoga. And I think that at least my experience and the experience of a lot of other people in doing these Tibetan practices is that quite often it could be a bit too much for us, or a bit too intense, or a bit too complicated, or a bit too anything, or maybe not enough, whatever. And we feel under this pressure to, do it exactly as it is in the sadhana and do it right to the T, because we're afraid that we might do something wrong or something, for whatever reason. But I think in the end we run into trouble. So I just want to encourage you that if this sadhana is a bit too complicated or too much, I've already made it simpler. But just remember to have the yoga fit the person. So whatever amount, whatever level you can use of this practice, it's okay. Just be happy with that. If it's and the other thing too, as I said before, is the main thing while we're going through all these recitations and visualizations is to keep a constant pulse on that relaxation and openness in the body. And I know that after a while we get tired and we want to slump a little bit, and that's okay. We can always rest. But if we can keep aware of a sense of relaxation, then we have more of a chance of fitting the yoga to the person rather than the person to the yoga. Because if we start getting all caught up in all this conceptualization and everything, quite often we end up just off somewhere in our heads, and maybe it's not really coming into our body, speech, and mind. It is body, speech, and mind. It's not just mind. So we have the the physical visualizations with the body and the recitation for the speech. So that's just something I wanted to say, and to just be aware of that. Now I already forgot what the second thing was, so we won't worry about it. So let's just get started. Oh, the second one was, I do a little bit of variation usually at the beginning of the sessions. And the reason I do that is that we're all different. And also there's so much to cover in terms of Tibetan Buddhism encompasses so many different concepts and experiences that we all have to sort of fit together in one holistic picture. So we start out by getting the pieces, all the different pieces, and then they all fit together. Much like an ecosystem is made up of many different components, but it's one big experience. So I kind of like touch on different parts of it in the morning sessions, the first 10, 15, well, it's more like 15, 20 minutes. So the idea is, if one of them works, you can take that. If one of them doesn't work, you don't. But it's just kind of a way of giving you different vantage points through which to view the practice, I suppose. But we always will start with the posture and the breathing, because that's kind of like the ground of meditation. So let's just do that. Just to review, we're filling the belly, experiencing our legs and feet. Extending the breath. A slightly longer exhale. If you'd like, you can pause between inhale and exhale. And in that pause, we feel a relaxation. The exhale, letting go. Inhale, energizing. Bringing the awareness into the mid part of the body, the kidney region, the solar plexus, the sides of the ribs. Expanding, allowing the breath to slightly lift the ribs off the pelvis area. Giving more room for your liver and spleen and stomach and pancreas to breathe. Infusing them with the prana, the chi. This helps to energize our mind as well. Allowing the breath to fill the upper lungs, lifting the sternum slightly up. The chin comes towards the sternum, not too much. Opening the back as well, feeling the space between the shoulder blades, maybe the shoulder blades coming down a little bit. Feeling the shoulders, actual shoulders widen. The exhale going down the arms, up into the head. Relaxing the jaw. Move your jaw around a bit to relax it. The upper palate lifting. From the inside, feeling the opening of the prana into the sinus area and up into the brain, crown. And the whole mouth relax. Teeth aren't touching. Tongue very gently touching behind the teeth. Feeling the whole body feel like it's beginning to become less dense and expand slightly, as if the body were a balloon and we're blowing it up. And feeling that opening of the pores and the interaction between the prana inside and the prana outside, or the chi or the energy, whatever you want to call this life force, energy we breathe in. Noticing how we're relating to the referring object I. Loosen that touch, very gentle, loving. I know some of you have studied for a long time, so you probably recognize the object to be refuted, the one that's breathing. Here, yes, existing I, that lightens up as well. Everything becomes very light, like a feather. Sense of I. Allowing ourselves to get a sense of it being merely labeled in the body and mind. Lama, some of you knew Lama. Lama used to talk about concrete concepts, remember? So a concrete concept to me isn't just something intellectual, it's also our concrete sense of self, of the whole body. So we kind of let that go too. And slowly as we let go, this concreteness of self and object, it slowly becomes the clear appearance in divine pride. So without collapsing any of this, let's just focus a minute. This is something I haven't done yet. At the navel chakra. The Chinese call it dantian. Just imagine an orb, pearl moon-like orb, pearl essence. Just below the navel, in front of the spine. A sphere, whatever size comes to you. And as we breathe in, that becomes energized. You might even find it pulsing as you breathe in, and expands. You breathe out, it contracts. But another part of us, we're still being aware of this whole body and all that we've set up with all the lifts and opening and relaxation. And then imagine another one, moon disk, like we experience at the heart. If you want, you can have the thumb there, but just know it's there. And as we exhale, we're going to imagine just a little stream of nectar going from first energizing the sphere at the navel. And just a little tiny stream, like, only as tiny as like the size of a needle, going up and touching that moon at the heart. You can see it as a sphere this time. Just energizing that heart region. Allowing the body to expand from in there and touching that sense of kindness and gratitude we talked about yesterday. It's just all sort of in the background. Then we'll imagine a third sphere, crown. This time when we exhale, it goes, when we inhale, we energize the navel, and it goes to the heart and up to the crown. So then this is just a nice way to set up morning meditation. So we can just go that. Unless you, whatever. I will just visualize the normal things like I'm surrounded by the sentient beings, Father on our left and Mother on our right. And the objects of refuge in the space in front. Again, just taking a moment to think about, conceptually, of course, why we're doing this. I think it's clear that we would all like to see sentient beings liberated from karma, cause and effect. Having studied enough to have confidence that this is the nature of the world, how the world works. There is an ultimate state beyond karma, cause and effect, as more subtle mind, our clear light, primordial mind. But due to the karmic winds that blow, because we've created the cause to have these bodies, we're constantly registering our sense conscious awarenesses, and those are so great that we are not able to experience this clear light mind, although it is there all the time. And somehow we must have some certainty of that, whether it's been pointed out to us in meditation or just intellectually makes sense. But for some reason, we believe there's something beyond this. And that's why we're here, because we want to get that. We want to experience that. We want to not just for ourselves, but for others. And so, and also, if we could even possibly attain that in a few lifetimes, what impact it would have on all of sentient beings, like a nuclear explosion, because we are all interconnected. And every little step we take towards liberation affects everyone around us. So that's what taking refuge is about. It's about recognizing cessation of suffering and that there is a path. And how do we get on that path? By recognizing the futility of thinking that we can find happiness in this realm. I mean, I'm not saying we shouldn't have temporary pleasure, of course, but it's not ultimately satisfying. It's more, even on a relative level, to expect that things are going to fall apart is far more realistic than expecting things to work out. Because most of us are old enough now to see that. We can be pleasantly surprised when we meet a truly compassionate person where things work in our lives. That's not the point. The point is that there is this clear light mind, and how the path is really, how do we hook that? Of course, we've all taken teachings about purification and accumulation, but there's, if we can just, okay, we have mind, right? There are all these things going on in our mind. And we're told that the clear light is with us all the time. We just don't recognize it. So how can we begin to recognize it? And it's through what we might call awareness. There's a mind and what's going on in the mind, but there's another part of the mind that's being aware, that's cognizing what's going on. And that mind is the way to that clear light mind, because that mind of awareness isn't the concept. It isn't the picture. It isn't the thought. It isn't the experience. And so why we meditate is I'll never forget my course with John Lando. He talked about the mindfulness muscle. And it's like this capacity to be aware is what we seek to broaden that experience of that capacity of awareness. Because when we can, it's hard to find words, when we hook that, when we find that, when we be that, then there's less of a hook of the conceptual appearances. And so that's why we take refuge, because we need help from the Buddhas to do that. But it's also why we need to have kindness for ourselves, because we need to be relaxed within our own skins enough to be able to pay attention, that we can slow down enough, because when we're not happy inside our own selves, we constantly look for distraction. And so creating that space where we can love ourselves is actually a form of giving up samsara, because it's there that we can relax enough to maybe connect with that awareness mind, that cognition mind, that mind of cognition, rather than what's happening. So as we do the Tara practice, it's all, everything is just different concepts coming and going. But what we want to think about when we take refuge is not only, do we want to like pray for purification, accumulation? That's all within the relative existence. It's all the relative world. But if within that we can begin to pay attention to that, the mind that's being aware, the one that's the precision, the one that's coming back, that brings it back, the mind that's watching, and of course that's still the relative mind, but when we get more familiar with that, then we might have a chance to experience its emptiness. So let's just take refuge. I've been talking too much now. But we want to take refuge in that mind that will hook us into the pathway to our own clear light. As Mom used to say, the indivisible great bliss and emptiness. Because it's always there, abiding with all of our concepts, feelings, emotions. So as we go through this practice, let's pay attention to what's paying attention. And whenever we stop and rest, as much as we can, let go and rest and allow that. It's in that resting mind, which is still the conceptual mind, but then we have these two things. There's the what's going on in the mind, but then there's the watcher mind. So doing this for all sentient beings. Allowing ourselves to feel those feelings of wanting to help our best friends that are ill, and feeling for all the people in the world that are suffering, all the animals that are being slaughtered today, all the chickens that are being raised in horrible cooped up conditions with like contact lenses on their eyes and being forced to have eggs all the time and slaughtered. And it's horrible. Living around here, I see the lambs. I have sheep all around me, lambs and mothers. And mothers have these babies, and the babies, they're cold, they're outside. Well, I guess they're not cold, they have warm. And watching the babies grow, and always ramming into the mother and getting milk, and the mother's uncomfortable. And then after a few months, they take the lambs away, and the mothers are crying, and the lambs are slaughtered. And samsara is always around us. One of my teachers, Ajahn Rinpoche, used to say, samsara is nasty. It's not funny. And we are just so fortunate to even have the thought that there might be an alternative. And that although it may take countless great eons, if we really determine to use this life, to develop this mind of awareness, and not squander it. It's so easy to just fritter the day away, isn't it? So we pray to Tara to please bless us with the pacification, increase, power, wrath, activity, stability. And at least for this next hour, to So we'll just start with no more groupie today. Namo Gurave Namo Buddhaya Namo Dharmaya Namo Sanghaya Namo Gurave Namo Buddhaya Namo Dharmaya Namo Sanghaya Namo Gurave Namo Buddhaya Namo Dharmaya Namo Sanghaya. In order to attain the fully accomplished state of a Buddha for the sake of all living beings, I will enter into the sadhana of Vaitara, the wish fulfilling. So connecting with the refuge, and if you like, with the in-breath, breathing in the blessings, with the out-breath goes out, that touches our hearts and energizes the objectless compassion. And the exhale goes out, touches all the sentient beings. And we settle into refuge and bodhicitta. Refuge being the clear light, mind. Exhale, the love and compassion, the bliss. So breathing in and out becomes the union of bliss and emptiness. And continuing with that, while if you want, you can just listen if you don't have them memorized. May all living beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. May all living beings be free. May all living beings be endowed with happiness that is free from suffering. May all living beings being endowed with a happiness that is free from suffering. I mess these up because I moved around. I'm sorry. Let's just start again. May all living beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. Just read. May all living beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all living beings be endowed with the happiness that is free from suffering. And may all living beings remain in a state of equanimity, free of the mind that attaches to the appearance of inherent existence and the objects that it grasps. And then thinking, remembering the actual nature of the objects of refuge. That Tara is being that's gone beyond karma, realm of karma, and the cycle of existence. Kind of imagine what that's like. You feel humbled. Gods and asuras with their crowns bow down to your lotus feet. I prostrate to the Mother Tara, the liberator of baseless needs. So then, generating this great longing to experience the clear light nature of mind, we want to create that cause. So that's why we offer the mandala. So we're offering everything in our lives, whole universe, all the things we're attached to, all the things we're averted from, every single, and also just beautiful, wonderful things. Oh, the ground is blessed with scent and with flowers strewn, adorned with Mount Meru, the foreland, sun and moon, transformed as a pure land, and offer may all wandering beings enjoy this Buddha land. All those objects of my mind's three poisons, coveted, rent for one stranger body wealth, worldly pleasures, without a feeling of loss, I surrender, receive them, please and free all beings from their bondage. Idam Guru Rana Mandala Kamniryataya. Take refuge in the three jewels. I regret all my unwholesome deeds. I rejoice in the merit of all beings. I will hold bodhicitta until enlightenment. I take refuge until complete enlightenment in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. In order to fulfill the purpose of myself and others, I generate the mind of enlightenment. Having generated the mind of enlightenment, I invite all living beings as my guests. I will remain in this excellent conduct of the Bodhisattvas. Thereby may I achieve the state of a Buddha in sentient beings. So then the merit field dissolves into the tongue, the essence of this indivisible great bliss and emptiness. The union of clear light, illusory body, the final state of enlightenment comes to the tongue. Very, very small, bright light comes to the crown of our heads and dissolves into the tongue at our own heart. We imagine this nuclear explosion of experiencing our true nature. Light rays go out and touching all sentient beings. Comes back. And as it comes back, all the world around me dissolves into emptiness. So does my house and my room, my body. Everything dissolves into the tongue. And then the tongue gradually dissolves into emptiness. Ansabhava Shuddha Savargamma Sabhava Shuddha. Nature of mind, experiencing bliss, cognizing its emptiness. This is Taras Dharmakaya. This is me. Moved by the mind of bodhicitta, or the winds of bodhicitta, a syllable palm appears. It's white, becomes a white lotus. And from a white comes a moon disk. On top of which our consciousness arises in the form of a white syllable tam. It's emanating rays of light. The light goes out and makes offerings to all the Buddhas, teaches the Dharma to all the sentient beings. They all become Buddhas. So we can imagine we're surrounded by billions and zillions of white taras in space. And these dissolve back into the tongue, which again dissolves into emptiness. And then appears subtle form, subtle body, arising in the form of the venerable wish-fulfilling Aryatara. With a white body, completely beautiful, youthful goddess. You can even imagine your own 16-year-old self. Doesn't have to be an Asian-looking Tara, or however you like. Just beautiful, just feeling yourself as this beautiful Tara. With eyes and the hands and the feet and the third eye, the wisdom to see exactly how to help sentient beings. And so the right hand is extending this giving, fearlessness, and materials, and love, and dharma. And the left hand is in the gesture of teaching, with the flower that comes up to the crown. It has 3 blossoms, representing the past, present, and future Buddhas. It's radiant with jewels and diaphanous cloths made of silk, diamonds and jewels and rubies and sapphires, and the crown. There's a crown made of jewels and a necklace of jewels and bracelets of jewels, and just allow ourselves to feel that beautiful being. It's also empty, like a mirage, like a rainbow. On my crown is a white Om, at my throat a red Ah, at my heart a blue Hum, and at the heart on the moon disk is the white syllable Tam. There's different ways to visualize that. You can see it in the drop of the Hum, maybe in front of the Hum, or the Hum is in the Tam. Just choose one. Which emanates rays of light inviting from the Patala Buddha field in the south, the venerable wish-fulfilling Aryatara, surrounded by an assembly of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So again, we're inviting the actual Buddhas to come and abide in this experience of our subtle body. And we say Zahum Bam Ho. With each syllable, they get closer and closer and closer until the final oneness. And we meditate on bliss and emptiness again. Zahum Bam Ho. Wisdom beings become non-dual with the commitment being, myself, visualized as Tara. I prostrate to Mother Tara, the liberator from existence, the one who liberates from the 8 worldly fears with Tutare, who frees from all illness with Ture. All the wisdom, compassion, and activities of the Buddhas appears in the form of the extremely beautiful goddess. To the one who is brilliantly white, who holds in a plow of flower in her hand, and who bestows longevity and supreme attainments to sentient beings, I bow. Then we just take a moment to meditate on the divine pride and clear appearance of myself as star. Never parted from bodhicitta. So then we imagine the 8-spoke wheel at the heart, the 3 rims, and the center on the moon disk is the very subtle mind, as the white tom encircled by the mantra Om Tari Tu Tari Turi. Amma Ayu Punina Pushtum Kuriso. And then inside, just at the very beginning of the 8 spokes, are the syllables Tari Tu Tari Turi Soha. And there's 3 rims. The inner rim is Om A A E E U U Ri Ri Li Li A L O O Om Asoha. And the middle one is Om Kakagagana Chachachajana Tatadana Tatadana Baba Baba Maya Alava Shasha Saha Shasaha. And the outer rim is the dependent arising mantra. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetu Teshan Tatakata Hi Avda Chayo Naroda Evam Bari Mahashramani Yeso. The seed syllables and all the letters are the mantras are in the nature of light, and dewdrops of nectar stream forth from these letters. So then we imagine Amitayas in the crown of our head. Holding the golden vase, sitting in the Vajra position. And his heart is the free. And go out with these red lights, bringing back the lost life force. I lost life force. And bringing it into the vase, energizing the vase with rainbow colored nectars. They go out again and hook back the essence of the earth element, water element, fire element, air, and space. You have the capacity to heal any physical ailments. And with the air element purifying the emotional airs, and space purifying our ignorance. And they go out again and bring back all the life energies and merits of all the living beings, of all the worlds, brilliance and dignity of the worlds, all the wealth and goodness of existence, the blessings of the body, speech, and mind of all the Buddhas. It's like anything you imagine, to make yourself a Buddha. Bodhisattvas are collected back. And the different colors, and they absorb into the vase. And then the vase completely overflows and enters into my crown opening, filling my entire body. My body's washed, an accumulation of unwholesome imprints, obscurations, illnesses, disturbances, and obstacles to life are cleansed and purified, restoring my life energies, merits, broken vows, and commitments, and I attain the city of immortality. Thank Buddhahood. You can do this while we recite the mantra. Dare tu re mama ayur puninyana pushtim kriye so. Dare tu re mama ayur puninyana pushtim kriye so. Dare tu re mama ayur puninyana pushtim kriye so. Dare tu re mama ayur puninyana pushtim kriye so. Dare tu re mama ayur puninyana pushtim kriye so. Dare tu re mama ayur puninyana pushtim kriye so. Dare tu re mama ayur puninyana pushtim kriye so. Dare tu re mama ayur puninyana pushtim kriye so. Dare tu re mama ayur puninyana pushtim kriye so. Dare tu re mama ayur puninyana pushtim kriye so. Dare tu. Tare tu re mama ayurpani jnana pushtim kurye so. Tare tu re mama ayurpani jnana pushtim kurye so. Confidence that I'm blessed by Paula. And then next we visualize the protection wheel outside the Dharma wheel. And then we begin the practice with the 6 different qualities. First within ourselves, and then as we fill up our own bodies and it extends out into the sphere, the orb around us, and that benefits all sentient beings. And remember, if you can put people in your heart or around you, if you have particular people that need help. So, from the wheel, the mantras at my heart, light rays radiate, filling my entire body with the energy of pacification, pacifying all our physical obstacles, emotionals, all our delusions, all our obstacles, all our unhealth, all our doubts and ignorance and anger, attachment, everything, all of the wrong, bad conditions we may have, pacifying the COVID. When it goes out, we can think about others, pacifying all these other obstacles, climate change. And so you can just keep saying the mantra if you like, and then I'll add, now we do the yellow, now we do. So we just keep going with Tara's mantra, starting with peace. Tare tu re soha. 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 Let's remember to pacify all the wars. When the white light begins to turn yellow, the energy changes from pacifying to increasing our lifespan, our capacity to practice our renunciation, our right views, increasing our ability to feel comfort and ease within our own mind, so that we have less tendency to grasp at outside sense pleasures to feel happy, increasing our guru devotion, increasing our understanding of death and impermanence, karma, the truth of suffering, and increasing our joy and having a perfect human rebirth and wanting to utilize it for the path to enlightenment, increasing our conditions, and then for the world, it needs to be increasing. Joy, love, peace, wisdom, skillful means, opposite of greed, giving, increasing the inner sense of goodness, so that we don't turn to greed to feel and power to feel good about ourselves. Ability to care, to love and be loved. All these things, I'm sure you can think of more. Then the yellow turns orange, and then it turns red. And we're endowed with the power to increase our capacity to control our minds, to control our situations, to get control of our living circumstances, so that we're able to serve ourselves and others. And of course, we need control in the outer world, control the virus. Crazy politicians. Wars, famines. red light rays change to blue, dark blue, achieving all the even more powerful activities of wrath, of destruction, the ability to say no, kind way, lots of compassion, firmness, destroying obstacles, the power of nuclear bombs. Then the dark blue changes to green, giving us the power to achieve all the enlightened activities. Now that we've destroyed the obstacles, given ourselves the power, increase, and pacified, now we can achieve all of the goals, particularly that of realizing the true nature, realizing emptiness, realizing bodhicitta, realizing Guru devotion, being able to receive the blessings, the Gurus and the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, humbling ourselves, lessening our pride, all our obstacles. Om Tara. then the green slowly fades to either brown or purple, lavender, stabilizing these capacities, stabilizing our realizations, stabilizing the situation with the coronavirus. It's raging at the moment. Stabilizing love and compassion. Stabilizing a mind that flits from concept to concept, and finding that stability in a calm, focused mind. Om Dare Tu Re Soha. Om Dare Tu Re So. Om Dare Tu Re Soha. Om Dare Tu Re So. Om Panasapa Samaya Manupalaya Panasapa Dina Patita Dindo Me Bawa Sutukaya Me Bawa Supokaya Me Bawa Anurato Me Bawa Sarva Siddhi Me Prayaja Sarva Karma Sucha Me Titan Shiram Kuru Ha 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 Bhagavam Sarva Tata Gata Padma Mama Mutsa Padma Bawa Mahasamaya Sapa Ahunte. Whatever mistakes I've made because of not knowing or lacking ability or not finding the proper materials, please be patient with these. Om to the Supremely Noble Goddess, I offer actual and imaginary substances, water for drinking, water for bathing, flowers, incense, lights, perfume, food, and music. Outer, inner, secret, and suchness offerings, the pleasures of the five senses, auspicious symbols, all the prosperity and magnificence of gods and humans. Samanta Praja's oceans of offering clouds. Om Ahum. Om Ahum. All the wisdom, compassion, activities of the Buddhas appears in the form of the extremely beautiful goddess, to the one who is brilliantly white, who holds an Apollo flower in her hand and who bestows longevity and supreme attainments to sentient beings, I bow. Since mother sentient beings are unaware that they themselves are the Dharmakaya, their minds are navigated by afflictive emotions as they wander adrift through cyclic existence. Mother Goddess, please protect them. Dharma has not yet arisen from the depths of some beings' hearts. By adhering to mundane words, they are deceived by erroneous philosophies. Authentic Mother Goddess, please protect them. Having seen the nature of the mind itself, so difficult to recognize, some still do not habituate it but remain distracted by negative activities. Mindful Mother Goddess, please protect them. Regardless of what they do, some remain shackled by their habitual pattern of dualistic grasping at the self-arising mind of non-dual wisdom. Goddess of the mind of non-duality, please protect them. Although they dwell in the absolute truth, some are ignorant of the interdependence of cause and effect and confused by the meaning of that which should be understood. Omniscient Mother Goddess, please protect them. Certain individuals do not yet comprehend that by possessing an innate space-like nature free of mental concepts, all phenomena are inseparable from space. Perfectly enlightened Mother, please protect them. So that's all my heart radiates, dissolving. Whole mandala. Colors one by one dissolving into the protection wheel, right into the goddess itself, into the wheel, slowly into emptiness again. The absolute nature of reality. Instantly I rise as a venerable Lady Tara, with the Om at the crown, an Ah at the throat, and the Hum at the heart. With the merit collected by this practice, may I quickly attain the state of the wish-fulfilling Aryatara. May I lead all living beings without exception to her state of enlightenment. When the signs of untimely death appear, by instantly seeing the form of the wish-fulfilling wheel, the power of the Lord of death is eliminated. May I swiftly attain the state of a knowledge holder of immortality. To the roots of merit accumulated by this meditation, recitation, praises, and offerings to the Venerable Tara, may all obstacles, interferences, evils, and disturbances be pacified. May I enjoy the glory of immortality. By merely seeing your body, hearing your speech, and remembering you, all signs of untimely death are destroyed. And all my lifetimes may be guided by the Venerable Tara, and may I be able to enjoy the holy Dharma. May I never be parted from perfect gurus and perfect conditions and perfect friends. May I swiftly attain the activity of pacification, increase power, destruction, the 8 cities, and so forth. May I quickly attain all the common and supreme attainments, and may all my hope and wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Whoever holds the sweet dew of nectar of immortality, the sadhana of the white Apollo flower in the palms of their hands respectfully, Aryatara will rejoice in that fortunate being. So then, sealing the dedication with emptiness and rejoicing. Okay, that's it for the morning. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you at 3.